surely that can't be true. Surely I need to be motivated if I want success. Well, actually, in many respects, it's a complete opposite. It's all about motivation. It's all about habits. It's all about success, self-discipline. Let's get stuck right in now. All right, so let's put it out there straight away. Motivation, jelly beans, kumbaya, singing and dancing, rainbows, all of that soft niceties around it, that doesn't lead you to success, quite simply. The vast majority of motivation and inspiration that's out there and all the kumbaya type of stuff is going to lead you astray. That's simply put. See, a lot of people feel that success comes when you're motivated and they feel like they're going to get more great things happening. They're going to get themselves, pumped up. They get themselves to a really optimal state of efficiency and effectiveness and etc., etc., etc. Well, here's the thing. Being really motivated doesn't actually lead you to success. What actually happens is success actually comes when you're not motivated. All right, and I'll say that again. Success doesn't come when you're motivated. Success actually comes when you're not motivated. See, it's actually the habits that you have, and the habits can be good. The habits can be not so good. They can be good habits that allow you to be at the optimal level of performance and efficiency. All right, alertness, sleep, reading. There's so many different avenues and so many different habits that are actually going to place you better for success. It's not actually about motivation, but success is actually going to come when you're least motivated, because that's when habits will always put you in a better stead to get success. Let's think about this. There's dozens of times every week where we may be very motivated, but we also are going to be very unmotivated. Maybe it gets to the 3 o'clock time in the afternoon and you start to feel a little bit down. Not so much down, but maybe your energy levels drops, right? You got up early, you've been working with a lot of people, a lot of clients, having a huge amount of impact. Maybe you've had to do some extra driving. Maybe you've had to do extra meetings and reports, and it doesn't really matter what it is. At the end of the day, we're going to start getting a little bit tired. We're going to start maybe being a bit lethargic. Maybe it's just a dip in that motivation and inspirational type feel. And so people go for caffeine, and people go to try and, have little pick-me-ups, or they might go and read a couple of, of their motivating quotes that they have up on the wall and that type of stuff as a way to try and motivate themselves so that they can achieve more and ultimately have more success. But again, it's not actually the motivation, it's actually the habit. And you are much better off having good habits that are efficient and effective at making the right things get done that are going to drive more success. Back about 7 or 8 years ago now, it was 2015, I actually released my first book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective Allied Health Business Owners. Went as an Amazon bestseller and all that type of stuff. First book in the allied health space around building businesses. It was an Amazon bestseller. And looking back on it right now, there's so much more that we do and say and that type of stuff. And it's a great book, don't get me wrong, but I also look at it and go, that feels to me like it's quite low level. But here's the thing. The very first step that I put in there is, and I think a lot of people pay lip service to this as well, the very first thing I said was that you have to have self-discipline as a business owner. And most people sort of go, oh, that's nothing too outstanding. It's not, it's not like, oh, this groundbreaking thing that you have to do or say, Jace. Well, actually, the complete opposite, because the vast majority of business owners don't have a good level of self-discipline. And I'm not being facetious and I'm certainly not being rude by that. But let's be completely honest. Does your diary finish at 3 p.m. in the afternoon and that's it? Do you have the self-discipline to not work overnight time? Do you have the self-discipline to have huge amounts of family time? Do you have the self-discipline to make sure that you stick to your default diary? Do you have the self-discipline to only work in your genius mode and have other people work in their genius mode so ultimately you can all be more efficient and effective? Now, when we start to ask those type of questions, 99 times out of 100, you have to be honest with yourself and say, no. We all know that we aren't as disciplined as we should, right? We get distracted by ding, right? Facebook notification, ding, 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 and it's emails coming in. We're not having the self-discipline to say, this is what I'm doing now, this is how it's going to look, etc. We allow so many different avenues, so many different things and stuff and distractions and phones and social medias and just people and all sorts of stuff to actually pull us away from being exceptionally disciplined and well drilled. And so as a net result, the first part of being the self-discipline of a business owner tends to wane. And over time, it gets worse. And so we start to get into bad habits. And so you can see how this is actually pertinent to everything that we do as a business owner and the success we get. Because ultimately, you can be very successful and say, oh, I've got this fantastic business and it's grown a lot and it's done this and blah, blah, blah. Well, that's great. But what's your definition of success? Because working, 70 or 80 hour weeks, making tons of money for a family that doesn't even know you is not really someone who's successful in their business. So again, there's no criticisms here, but it's just all of us taking a good hard look at ourselves and realizing that so much of our self-discipline, which is ultimately driven by our habits, is what's responsible for our success. Not being motivated and, jelly beans and kumbaya and, unicorns and fluffy teddy bears and all this type of stuff. That's not going to be what drives our success. And so let me put it this way. If you don't develop the discipline, you'll always fall victim to the habit. And success never excels your habits. I'll say that again. If you don't develop the discipline, you'll always fall victim to the habits, and success will never exceed your habits. So have a think about it right now. What are your habits allowing you to do or not do? Have you actually got the right self-discipline in place to make sure that you have good habits? Habits that are positioning yourself to get the most amount of success. Because ultimately you might not feel motivated to follow through on some of these habits. You might not feel motivated to actually do that little task. You might not feel amazingly bouncing off the walls motivated to go out and do whatever it happens to be at that time. But if you have the self-discipline to actually do that habit, you actually have the self-discipline to follow through. You don't have to be motivated, but you will have more success, because ultimately success will never exceed your habits. So, might there be a few things we can take away right now and grab 2 or 3 avenues right now to be more successful? Because I think for all of us there is. Look at the, say, 3 things, the 3 habits we need to start doing, or we need to do more of. And then what is the self-discipline that you need to hold yourself to actually follow through with those habits? Because if you actually have the self-discipline of a business owner that a business owner should have, and you follow through with those habits, maybe there's only 3, maybe there's 5, maybe there's 1. The number doesn't actually matter. It's the fact that you've identified the 2 or 3 habits that are going to enable you to have more success, and the fact that you're then self-disciplined enough to continually do them habitually, that will drive your success properly. So it's not motivation. It's self-discipline of a business owner and following that through with the right habits that will drive more success. Go and work out those 2 or 3 things for yourself right now. Put them in place. Make sure you've got the self-discipline moving forward, and you watch success will move forward. Doesn't mean you have to be motivated when you're doing those habits, but understanding that you will have more success by doing them and having that discipline is all that you should need as a motivating factor right now to go and make it happen and achieve more success. talk to you again very soon.
Hey guys, thank you very much for listening to another episode of the Profitable Practice Podcast. I would love nothing more than for you to be able to leave a review. I get so much joy out of listening and reading the amazing things that you guys say about this. So please subscribe to our channel, leave a review, and share it with your friends. Let's get some more fantastic information out there so all of us can grow the industry together. Cheers for now.